Hey, I'm Steph Shep, and welcome to the Clean Academy, where we are diving into all things sustainability. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I have been watching and diligently taking notes since season 1, and I'm so excited to continue this education and exploration of clean beauty. I became passionate about clean beauty when I learned about the Environmental Working Group and the fact that there had not been legislation passed in over 80 years to protect our personal care products. To me, I think that's crazy, and it really started me on this journey and this quest to change the way that I approached beauty in my own life. And I think when I started FutureEarth, which is my climate education platform on Instagram, the more I realized how connected everything was and the ethos of clean beauty meaning not only good for myself and good for my health and my body, but also for the planet, I felt this real synergy between the work that I was doing for the environment and the interest that I had in the beauty space. Let's start with where the product life cycle begins. Sourcing. Square one, it's important to know where ingredients come from and how they impact the planet. You may have heard of clean, safe synthetic ingredients. We'll dive into what this means and how the beauty industry has used science to create ingredients that are more effective, safe, and sustainable, and how you can be more mindful as a consumer. I'd love to introduce everyone to Shara Ticku. She is the founder of C16 Biosciences. Shara, I'm so happy you're here to talk with us today. I would love for you to tell everyone a little bit more about what you do and about what C16 is and why understanding sourcing is so important as a consumer.
I am the co-founder and CEO of C16 Biosciences. C16 makes clean, safe, bio-based alternatives to palm oil.
Many people don't realize that palm oil is found in so many products, from food to personal care.
That's right. Palm oil is found in 50% of products on supermarket shelves. It's in everything from soaps and shampoos, lipstick and eyeliner, and packaged foods like chocolates, ice cream, chips, margarine, frozen pizzas. It's a really good functional ingredient, which is why it's found in so many products. But the problem comes in the way that palm oil is produced.
Palm oil has been a hot topic, but most people don't really understand why. And while it's a natural ingredient, sourcing it severely impacts the environment. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
I first learned about palm oil in 2013 when I went to Singapore for work. And I was sent with a mask, just like these masks that we're wearing today. And the reason I was sent with this mask is because the air quality was so bad. The air quality index was over 400, and over 300 is considered toxic. At this point, the haze was so dangerous that pregnant women were effectively banned from walking outside. I had no idea what was happening. So I asked some of my peers, what's going on? Why is the air like this? And they said, oh, it's the palm oil plantations. They're burning the palm oil plantations. They're burning the forest in Indonesia. They do this every year. That was the first time I ever learned about palm oil. So palm oil comes from the oil palm tree, which is essentially a palm tree. This tree can only grow right around the equator. What we've seen is growers moving into the area around the equator, which is mostly tropical rainforest. They slash and burn the rainforest and the peatland, which grows on top of it, emitting 1.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide are emitted into the air each year from deforestation. And on this new land, they build oil palm plantations. And that's how we get palm oil, which turns into these ingredients, which are used in everything from our lotion to our pizza for lunch.
So Shara, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about these buzzwords that we hear when it pertains to sourcing.
So when we talk about sustainable sourcing, we generally talk about the impact that the ingredient has on the environment. If we're burning rainforest to make an ingredient like palm oil, that is definitively unsustainable sourcing practice. But the other ways that palm oil has challenges when we look at its supply chain involve something that's a little bit different than sustainable sourcing, which would be ethical sourcing. Ethical sourcing often looks at human rights issues around the production. The fair trade movement was a big advocate for human rights issues, making sure that people are paid fair wages in areas like coffee and chocolate. The palm oil industry has been found guilty of employing child labor. They pay very low wages for dangerous, manually intensive jobs, and they often use imported workers who are held in debt bondage. So all of these are human rights violations, effectively, involved in the production of this ingredient that might show up in your moisturizer or your face wash. And then the final is around the impact on biodiversity. But when we rely on certain agricultural processes to make products, we're often encroaching on the land and the habitats of other species. With palm oil, it's notably the orangutan. So as we've been burning rainforest, the population of orangutans has been cut in half over the last 15 to 20 years. And all 3 species of orangutan are now critically endangered. And it's 100% from palm oil deforestation. Biossance, with its bio-based squalene product, solved a similar problem, as previously the way that we were sourcing squalene came from shark livers. So we were having to murder and destroy multiple shark species in order to get squalene. And Biossance has come up with a new platform for doing that in a more sustainable and ethical way.
Yeah, I wish more brands really focused on the transparency of sourcing. I think right now we've seen such a wave of talking about products being clean, being organic, being natural, all of those kinds of buzzwords. But I think something that we could do as consumers is really ask for more brand transparency when it comes to sourcing, so that we know that there is ethical sourcing and sustainable sourcing and a low environmental impact on sourcing the materials and ingredients that are in our products. I think that's such a great point to make as consumers that we can call out and ask for with the brands that we're using.
That's right. And I think brands have historically paid less attention to this because they thought consumers only care about themselves. They only care how the product is going to make them look or feel. And, we are much more complex and thoughtful people than that. We do care about ourselves, but we also care about the ethics of the products that we buy. We care about how people are treated in making our products, and we care about how the planet is treated. I think when given the choice, no consumer would choose to buy equal products if one employs human rights violations, child labor, or the killing of endangered species, or the destroying of the rainforest. Consumers would always pick the one that doesn't have those downsides.
So enter C16, and what do you guys do about this?
And this is really linked to the idea of clean beauty. Clean beauty means good for me and good for the planet. It means that I care about the performance of my products. I want my products to be the best in the world and to deliver whatever benefit I'm seeking in them. But I also want them to be good for the planet. And this is really the heart of the palm oil problem. Palm oil is generally safe, especially for topical use. It's a pretty safe product, but it's got this horrible means of production. So how can we still make this great product, but in a safer and a better way? One way would be to boycott the ingredient altogether, but then we end up suffering product performance. And again, consumers should be able to have both. They should be able to have great performing products that are also sustainable, and they shouldn't have to choose. You could also switch to other vegetable oils, but many of these vegetable oils have similar problems to palm oil. They also have a very big land footprint. And so the third way that we could solve this problem is by changing the way that we produce the product. And that's what C16 does. So the way that we do this is through something called biomanufacturing. So instead of using agriculture, we use biology to manufacture the product. We do this to make beer and wine and cheese. And Biossance uses the same type of process to make squalene in a way that's significantly more sustainable and kind than harvesting shark liver. And our solution is to use the same technology, biomanufacturing, to produce a sustainable bio-based palm oil that still delivers the performance that consumers want.
Yeah, and I love that you made the point that, many people still opt for quote unquote natural products, or only want to use ingredients they can pronounce. Natural doesn't always mean safer, which is exactly why it's so important to understand where your ingredients are sourced from.
I couldn't agree more. Historically, this has been a challenge because when you turn over the label, the list of ingredients can be very long, and there's a huge disconnect. We have a lot of work in being better educators about why ingredients are in our products.
So if I'm looking at an ingredient list on a product, is it easy to spot palm oil on the ingredient list?
No, it's really challenging. So palm oil specifically is found in nearly all types of skincare products, but it will show up on ingredient labels under many different names. But they solve these very core functional parts, and you can't just take them out of your product. They help make your face washes clean better, they help your moisturizers give a good texture, and they're very, very important ingredients. But most consumers, when you look on the back of the bottle, would never be able to know which ingredients come from palm oil or not.
So I guess that just speaks to how we all need to be conscious consumers and really shop from brands that value transparency and ethical sourcing and fair trade.
It comes down to buying from the brands who are willing to be transparent and discuss, I think, some of the challenges that they faced in terms of sourcing.
Yeah, I always get so many questions on social media about, is this brand okay? Is this brand clean? Is this safe? My response is, if the brand isn't communicating that to you, the chances are that it's not safe. Okay, so this was a lot of information, so I want to make sure that everyone really takes away what they need to know about sourcing. So let's do a quick rapid fire round of questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sustainable sourcing, what does that mean?
Sustainable comes down to environmental impact. Can you get palm oil that doesn't involve deforestation, or squalene that doesn't involve killing sharks? That would be sustainable sourcing.
Ethical sourcing.
How you treat the people in your supply chain. The environment is part of it, but the people that produce your product, are they being treated fairly? Are they being paid wages?
Clean synthetic ingredients.
Ingredients that involve some amount of processing, but are safe and good for you and good for the planet.
And so what can consumers do now to be more sustainable?
Demanding more from their brands, asking hard questions, asking, why are you using this unsustainable palm oil, squalene? Can't you do better? I think consumer demand will require brands to increase their transparency and to pick ingredients that are better both for the people that are putting them on their skin and for the planet.
Couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much for teaching us so much about sourcing. It is so important, and I feel like sometimes it's a pillar of this whole sustainable movement that we sometimes overlook, and it's so important to know where your products are being sourced. So thank you so much for taking the time. I will probably be bothering you for the next couple weeks to learn more.
Absolutely. Thanks, Steph.
We have so much more to talk about. Click to watch the next video to learn more about clean beauty and sustainability. And don't forget to leave us a comment or question below.